Welcome back, Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. We're going to bring in Matt Lasser, covers recruiting for us, does so exceptionally well. And, you know, all of our minds are collectively thinking towards football, obviously, as August is nearly upon us, and it's almost all things football. But shockingly, Florida State, and I say shockingly because we just haven't had a whole lot of momentum in a long time for basketball. Florida State got a recruit, got a verbal commitment from a four-star center named Marcis Ponder. Go find videos of Marcis Ponder and get really excited for the first time in a very long time about Florida State basketball. And the reason I have Matt here is, A, he wrote the story for us and talked to the kid, but has been covering all of basketball recruiting. And I want to note that my man Luke Laux ain't having it. They're out there. They're fishing in the deep end, guys. They're doing some things right now in basketball. Matt, tell me about Marcis Ponder, who looks like, quite frankly, Baby SHAQ, which is his nickname. How good is he, and how did Florida State get him?
Man, he's really good. It's like I've barely watched highlights. I've watched a lot of like the YouTube stuff that you guys have seen, and if you just Google his name, but man, he is a monster, especially underneath the net. And it's not even like you just see him dunking on guys easy, like it's without any effort. And then defensively, when I talked to him, he was like, yeah, Laux doesn't even talk about my offense. He talks about how much he likes my defense and how just it's so hard to get around him when you get up close to the net that he goes up and he can block anything, which is awesome to see and a lot of fun to watch. That's for sure.
So I know there's a connection on the staff. And for those just joining us, we're talking about Florida State commit Marcis Ponder. He's a center. He's 7 feet plus. He's 288 pounds. He's not a string bean. He's not one of these guys that comes in, not ready. He's a monster. I mean, just a monster. And I read what you wrote, and I saw the quotes. I know there's an assistant coach connection here, but they've been on this kid from day one, from Jump Street. And it sounds like Luke understood that this was of paramount importance, that you had to get a center in here at some point. So it's not this year, but it's next year. Is that right, that basically they just out-recruited everybody?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to Gillian, right? As you said, that's the connection on the staff. His Ponder's high school head coach is Kenny Gillian, and his brother, Gerald Gillian, is the assistant coach for Florida State. And he has been on him since 8th grade, I think Marcis said. His quote was, since I was a fat boy. So that's like how long it's been of Gillian's been recruiting him, going back to when he was at Chicago State. So again, it's been a long time in the making for Gillian. But then when Luke got hired, boots on the ground in March, right? I believe this was one of the first kids he was on the Zoom calls with and kind of getting to know and making that relationship. That's a kid that I think was a priority from day one once Laux got here, that they wanted to get him. They were at everything, like from his live periods to high school games to summer camps to FSU was always there watching him throughout his whole process. And I think he even was like getting recruited a little bit by FSU when Ham was here, but not to the extent of when Gillian and Laux came. They knew right away that this kid had to be a priority.
It's been surprising to me, Matt. Big picture, you cover recruiting for us and do a great job. There's a lot when you look at the lineup of kids that are coming in. We got one coming in this weekend, but if you look at the kids that are going to be here for the Alabama football game, I mean, it's kind of a veritable who's who. Like, they've got a lot of really high-profile kids that they're after. I think most people look at this and wonder, where's the money coming from? How does this work? There's real momentum for Laux and his staff right now in recruiting, isn't there?
Yeah, and Laux has done a great job trying to get that money and up his NIL, right? Like Norvell has led him on these booster tours all summer, and he's gotten to talk to boosters and get to meet people. And Laux is very good in that setting, right? He's always been good at talking to people, and like just from going to his press conferences and stuff, as you know, and talking to him on the show, like he loves to talk, and that goes well when you're trying to get money, right? Like even getting a guy like Terrence Mann in the fold as the GM, that gets you money from former players. Just for this past weekend, not this past weekend, but you saw a former player come back and practice with the team. I believe it was on Saturday. Like, they're finally getting more guys to come back and more guys to be involved in the program. And then Ponder feels like it opens the floodgates, right? They had already gotten one recruit in Jason Lopez, but he's more of a football recruit. He's a dual sport guy. Still a guy basketball really likes and probably would have recruited if he wasn't good at football. But this is his second recruit. You got Lopez, Ponder, and, there's some confidence in the building that this is going to be a top 10 class in the country this year. As you said, we got another official visitor this weekend in Gage Mayfield. That kid, he's the number one kid in Alabama. Florida State was in to see him at a Under Armour live period a few weeks ago. So this is a kid, they haven't been on as long as a kid like Ponder. I think they offered him a month or two ago. But again, it's hard to get that connection when the staff is just coming in, right? And Laux is pretty new, or really 100% new to high school recruiting because he was in the NBA. But guys like Gillian, Michael Fly has been a really good recruiter for him. He's been everywhere. There's like multiple guys on this list for the Alabama game. Colin Paul is someone that Fly offered back when he was at Jacksonville. And from talking to people around Paul's recruitment, it was like, yeah, they knew the kid wasn't going to go to Jacksonville to play basketball, but it was the fact that Fly was always on him. And now he's at a program where we can consider him going to play, and he earned that job, and we've always been close with him. Like, it's relationships from the guys that Laux has hired, and then him having the NBA connections and saying, I can get you to the NBA, I know how to do this, has been a really good combination so far for this team.
It's a good point you're making, Matt. I got a text probably right after Michael Fly, like the day after Fly was hired, and it was from a really knowledgeable basketball guy who's been involved in college basketball and high school basketball in the state of Florida for a very long time. And he texted me, and he texted me the googly eyes emoji, and he said, basically, I see what your boy is doing. And when I wrote him back, I asked him to expound, and he said, look, he's hiring guys that are relationship guys. These are guys that are really connected to the basketball circuit, if you will. That's what we're seeing play out here, because it is unimaginable, given what Florida State basketball has been. What you just said to me was that they think they're going to sign a top 10 class. So I want to echo that for a moment. Florida State signing a top 10 class means that you can start to think about not just the tournament, but you can start thinking about, dreaming of a Sweet 16, dreaming of an Elite 8, dreaming of mattering in basketball again. This is a big story. It's at the wrong time of year because everybody's thoughts are on football, but this is a big deal. Like, Florida State is making inroads with elite players.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't been excited about basketball in a long time, right? The 2020 team that should have made the Final Four was my freshman year of college. And ever since then, there hasn't been a reason to get excited about basketball really until now. And even we got to go to practice on Friday, me and Ira, and it's clear that this team is different. And I can tell you what, it's a lot more fun to watch Luke Laux. They're still getting used to the style of pace and stuff, but it's a much more fun style of basketball to watch. That even if they have a tough schedule this year, but even if they're not a great team in his first year and they're okay with the tough schedule, I can tell you what, it's still going to be something you're going to want to watch just off of the style. And I think that attracts kids as well. Like, they're playing an NBA style of basketball, a fast-paced, shoot it, and kind of style, and that attracts these kids. These kids want to go. It's just like football recruiting, where all these kids want to go to the NFL, right? They want to find a place where they like and stay for 4 years, but in the reality, it's a stepping stone to get where you want and get that big money. And it's the same thing here. And there's not many programs in the country that have a guy like Laux comboed with these relationship builders that can develop you into that. Like, that's not really a thing that a guy who knows the NBA as well as Laux does. And that even helps with other recruits like Brandon Bass. That's a son of an NBA player, former Celtics player, who Laux knows him from the NBA. And his high school coach at Windermere Prep played at Florida State.